Silicon Valley Congressman Khanna is no stranger to working across the aisle, especially when it comes to President-elect Donald Trump.
President Trump signed 5 of my bills in his first term. I think I was the California Democrat who had the most bills signed by him, and it's because I looked for areas of common ground.
And Khanna is promising to stretch a hand across the aisle in Trump's second term, saying he will work with Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE, to try and cut what he calls bloat in the defense budget.
If there is a way to work with DOGE or Elon Musk or Vivek Ramaswamy to cut the bloated defense budget, I'm going to do that. We waste so much money on almost $1 trillion defense budget a year. We've had cost overruns with the F-35s of almost $200 billion. We're paying $150,000 for soap dispensers to Boeing.
Khanna was adamant that DOGE should focus on areas like defense when making cuts, while leaving Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid unscathed. When it comes to working with Mr. Musk and Mr. Ramaswamy, do you trust them?
Well, this is not about trust. This is about figuring out how you cross the aisle to get something done for the American people. The question is, how do you put the country first? How do you work where there is common ground? And how do you hold people accountable when there isn't?
Khanna, who represents the richest congressional district in the country, said raising the minimum wage for Americans is a key priority for him in order to improve the economic stability of all Americans. He also touched upon Trump's plan for tariffs, saying he agrees there is a need for specific tariffs.
We need tariffs on semiconductor chips so that people are buying here. We don't need blanket tariffs on every consumer product that's going to increase prices.
Have you been speaking with the president-elect's team about that, about proposals perhaps for those chips rather than blanket tariffs that he's proposing?
I have. I've spoken to people who I know in the president's incoming team, and I've spoken to members of Congress. But I'm very concerned about Intel, for example, with the CHIPS Act, keeping our semiconductors here. I think we need to do 2 things. We need to have a Buy American tax credit for companies that are going to buy American chips instead of chips from Taiwan. And we need to have a tariff on those chips coming in from Taiwan so that we don't lose our manufacturing work base in semiconductors. Some of that is in Ohio, so I hope to work with Vice President Vance on that.
During our conversation, Khanna downplayed any potential presidential ambitions, saying he's focused on uplifting people in places that have felt left out of the changing economy. More from our conversation can be found on our news app. In Washington, Cassie Simeon, Spectrum News.